Hello and welcome to the show. I am here today on Automation and Beam to announce a new series. Now, a lot of people have been wanting to send me cars, get me to test drive various vehicles and so on, and I've been kind of looking forward to coming up with a series, essentially, on these two games where people can send me cars for me to test. And when I was messing around on Beam, I stumbled upon an idea that I very much like, and we're going to go ahead and give it a try. We're going to be using the procedural generated autocross circuits that you can use on Beam, something that's been perhaps a little bit forgotten about for a while now. I've picked a specific circuit, we'll see in a little while, and I will be running cars around there. Cars that you guys have designed and built in Automation. This is going to be my vehicle. This is my contender. I've called it the FRM Kestrel, designed to be very small, very light, very fast accelerating. And of course, acceleration and handling are so very important. Top speed doesn't matter. The autocross course, while there is a couple of longer straights on the version I have, doesn't matter if it goes more than about 100 miles an hour. It's probably as fast as we're going to get cars, realistically, because they've got to get on the brakes. If your car can do 250, it's going to be wasted. While there is going to be little rules regarding what you can do to the vehicle, you can go for whatever body style you want. Can we get away? Can we get rid of all of the rafts? I'll eventually remember. Just so you can see, I actually quite like the look of the car. Pretty nice. As you can see, I mean, this thing here is all carbon fibre monocoques and multi-link suspension at the back. This is unbelievably expensive. This is an unbelievably expensive vehicle that I have built here. So yeah, you can go mad with the actual building of the car. There is, though, one requirement, one rule that you must abide by. The engine, whichever one you go for down here, cannot be bigger than 2 litre. You can have a 2000cc engine, like I have got with my car here, but that is the maximum size that you can go for. And this means you're going to have to be a little bit creative. You're going to have to think a little bit about what you are going to be doing with your vehicle. Now, I've got 300 horsepower, just under 300 horsepower in this. I can get more horsepower. I know I can get more horsepower out of a 2 litre engine. However, because of what we're going to be doing, you are probably not going to want a big turbo. In fact, I've got my car naturally aspirated. I'm opting to run with a naturally aspirated vehicle in the hopes that I can perhaps get a little bit more usable power out of this car. If we can keep it in this, I mean, we're probably going to not be out of that area of the rev range, considering what we are going to be doing. Now, how you go about building your cars, of course, is completely up to you. It is going to be a small engine, which means you're probably not going to be getting massive torque figures, but you can try and focus on that. You can focus on whichever way you want to go about getting power. If you want to go for a massive turbo, if you want to try and get the absolute maximum power out of a 2 litre engine, whether it be a 2 litre V12 or whatever, you can go for it. However, it is going to be driven on an autocross course. The car is going to be driven around a very, very technical circuit. So my theory with this engine was to have something good. You know, you're going to want a decent amount of power. You're going to want to be accelerating hard out of these corners. However, I figured that this is kind of a good power level for what I want to be doing, and it's a easily accessible power level. It's not a bad engine to drive. I have played around with the car a little bit. We have got all-wheel drive now. That is going to probably be the driveline of choice. To make this, I say to make this fair, you are welcome to build all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, whatever, you know, driveline you want to use on your car, you are welcome to. They will all compete together. However, it will be denoted on the leaderboard, shall we say, as to what driveline the vehicle used. So, yeah, the all-wheel drive cars are probably going to be at the very, very top, but there will be, within that, the competition between the front-wheel drives and the rear-wheel drives and so on. I have got some very short gear ratios on this car. It is I don't care about going particularly fast with the vehicle. It's all about that acceleration. I mean, you can see it tops out technically at 125. It could do a lot more, but this is all about getting that punch out of the corners. It's all about getting the power down out of the corners. I have left my power distribution relatively even. Again, now it might make it a little bit understeery through some of the slower corners, but it's all about managing to fire the car out of the turns as quickly as possible. That's my hope with this vehicle. That's my hope with this vehicle. It's on semi-slick tyres, magnesium wheels, big old brakes to try and get the car slowed down. Braking is important, but we aren't going to be going massively fast. Again, we're not going to be slowing the car down from 200 miles an hour. So, yeah, it's very much up to you guys to decide on what sort of approach you are going to take. I will say, while you can, have power steering, you can have the traction aids. I'm going to be turning these off. You can choose to have them on the car, but I will be turning the ESC off. If your vehicle does come with ABS, if you choose to allow your vehicle to have ABS, that will be left on. So the cars are allowed to run ABS, but everything else will be turned off, although you can choose to get rid of it if you so wish. And I think that's about it for the vehicle. This is my contender. It is now time to go to the circuit. We will show you what it is that you're going to need to build your cars for. Here is our car, the FRM Kestrel in BeamNG Drive. It makes probably a sound you don't expect to come out of this, but it makes a pretty damn impressive sound, and this is the circuit that we are going to be using. It is fiddly, it is technical, there's a lot of U-turns, and there is a couple of longer straights. Now, as I have done with previous autocross series, I'm going to get 3 runs with this car, or with any of the cars. 3 runs through this course to go as quickly as possible. Now, that means if a car is very, very difficult to drive, a car is very difficult to extract performance, it may well suffer more in this format. I have done some practice runs through this course with other cars. I have not run the Kestrel through here. I have driven the Kestrel a little bit just to familiarise myself with the car. It's pretty bloody rapid, as you would imagine. A little bit understeery, as I said. However, it's that acceleration out of the corner. It just grips and goes out of just about every corner, which is what I wanted, which was the aim, the purpose, if you like, of this car. Also, got to bear in mind who's driving the vehicle. I am not a fan of leery, oversteery cars. I get more performance out of a vehicle that is planted, so bear that in mind when it comes to building and designing a car. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the randomly generated or what the seed number is for this circuit, so you can't tailor the car, or you can't practice many, many times through this course to tailor a car specifically. You will see what the course is like by me driving it, but that is all the information I'm going to give you on the course. Right. 3 runs. 3 runs with our little Kestrel. As you can see, the ESC is turned off. Here we go. Let's see what it can do around this course. Now, I have driven the Boxer engine all-wheel drive car. I drove the V8 hatch actually did really well around here. The V8 hatch actually did do really well around this circuit. Surprisingly well suited. I am also, for the sake of fairness, there might be places where I can be cheaty and either cut corners or jump stuff to get to certain checkpoints. I am going to follow the circuit as it is intended, even if there are ways to potentially cheat it and get a slightly quicker time. I'm following the circuit the way that it is intended to be followed. So yeah, I'm allowed to go outside of this grey area. I'm allowed to go a little exploring to find racing lines, but I've got to go through the checkpoints in the right direction. I think the game is generally pretty good at telling or not letting checkpoints count if you hit them the wrong way, but again, for the sake of this and for the sake of fairness and whatnot, I will be trying to drive it all above board. Here is our short-ish straight. It's not the easiest bit, because it's not the easiest to get the braking right, because you're so used to doing these little kind of navigating bits, and then all of a sudden you unleash your car up towards 80, I think about 85, 86 miles an hour we saw out of this, in a place where, well, you're really not expecting, a little wide through all of that. We're not very well positioned for the run towards the line. There we go. So 120.4. Now, ignore the leaderboard. Unfortunately, the leaderboard kind of tracks over every single randomly generated circuit. So I was playing around with this and there's all sorts of different. So don't worry about the leaderboard on the screen there. I'll have my own custom on when it comes to our thing. So at 20.4, that's the first run from the car. I feel like there is more performance in the vehicle. Getting off of the final little roundabout, essentially. I was very wide and very wonky heading up towards the finish line. Okay, Kestrel, what have you got for us on this next run? It's kind of up to about 40 or 50 miles an hour before we even get into the first corner, which is that's a lot of speed in a very, very short space. Automation reckons 0 to 60 takes about 3 seconds in this car, which I probably believe it, to be honest with you. It's a brutal little machine. I like it. I actually think it's one of my better built cars, this. Admittedly, it's very, very expensive, but pretty damn well built. Oh, I could have been on the power earlier there. God. Oh, we're very wide. That's not good. Yeah, like taking these wide lines, sure, you might be able to get a good racing line through a corner, but you've got to also bear in mind setting yourself up for the turn after the one you're taking. Like here, for example, I'm way, way out of shape. This is a terrible run. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong. Now, there is no time penalties if I clip concrete barriers. You know, if I hit the inside of the course, there is no time penalty for that. However, there is a very good chance that if I do hit that, I'm going to roll over, like so. Yeah, if you hit the barrier on the inside, you can sometimes get lucky and ping off of it, but you quite often roll over. So I'm not going to be wanting to hit the barrier. We are a little bit wide through all of there, and it's a 24. Terrible, terrible run. I'm surprised it's only 4 seconds down, because that was an awful run. If I crash a car, if I tear a wheel off a car, we have a wreck on a run, well, that's that. That's motorsport. I will do my best to not crash the cars, of course. However, if a car is very difficult to drive, you know, the possibility of runs being screwed up are considerably higher. Okay. Sub 120, I feel. A sub 120 is where I feel this car is potentially going to be able to achieve if I can get everything right. I think maybe being neat and tidy is going to be the key here. Don't go too exploring. Like, you can go exploring with lines and you'll get it right for one corner, but you've got to be really careful that you don't go too exploring and mess it up for a whole sequence of corners. So it's a really interesting challenge. A different sort of autocross, different sort of precision driving, if you like, that I have to deal with here than I have done on the likes of Forza. Oh, that's some wheel spin, some wiggling around from the Kestrel. Right, we can run out wider over here, try and get a nice turn in. Come on, front, turn in, turn in, turn in, turn in. And now unleash all of that power up towards this next sort of a wiggle. This bit here is, like, this is more as weird as it is medium speed corners in terms of the autocross. These little changes of direction. Oh, we're very wide there. We've got to get it back in line. Through the archway, 85, I think, miles an hour. Admittedly, I can't get up the airspeed indicator that I would love to have, unfortunately, because the way this is sort of like a specific scenario goes, it has default picked UI apps, so we are using the wheel speed, which is less accurate. Oh, a little wide through there. No, it's not better. Oh, I actually thought that was going to be a better run than a 21-1. I thought that was going to be a little faster. It wasn't better. From the Kestrel, 120.4 is going to be the time to beat. That is going to be the goal to try and beat from you guys' vehicles. I'm pretty pleased with my car. I'm pretty happy with my vehicle. I think it's a it's a good vehicle for this. Maybe the front end struggling to get turned in is a little bit problematic. However, the punch it gets out of a corner once you've got it lined up is something pretty remarkable. I'm sure it's not going to win. I'm sure there'll be way better designed cars, but it's a fun little benchmark to begin with. Now, if you want to submit your cars, if you want to send me your cars on here, I would like both the car file from Automation so that I can check there is no funny business going on with the engine, and the what's been called the packaged file that gets exported into Beam. For more information on all of that stuff and to submit them is going to be done via our forums. There'll be a link in the description of this video, and on that forum post there will be explanations of how to find the files and send the files, etc., so that I can have a go with your cars. Now, if you have Automation but don't have Beam, I think you can still potentially send me the file. You won't be able to send me the exported file, but you can send me the file and I can export it and then use the car in Beam myself, so you don't necessarily have to have Beam for this to be, or for you to be able to enter. I'm going to say one car per entrant for now. We might change later. We might say you can have cars with different drive lines if you so wish. For now, it's one car per entrant, and we may do, depending on how many entries we get, we may do this series once a week or a couple of times a week. We'll see how it goes. Should be quite good fun, though. I'm interested to see what you guys come up with. I'm interested to see how fast these cars are going to go around here. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.